What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Tall podcast, and today we are live not only on my channel but also on the legendary Running Back Nation's channel. How you doing today, DJ Eastwood?
Legendary, man. I don't know about all that.
Anybody who goes away for 2 months and comes back with a bang like that, you got to put them in that type of category. You know what I
I'm
mean?
trying, man. I gotta get back into algorithm. I gotta get back into flow of things. I had to delete a year's worth of videos. But
Exactly.
we're
Like it's
back, man. We're back.
Yeah. So, as y'all see above both of us, the Eagles will take on the Bucks. We do know our 2021 wild card weekend playoff opponent. It's been pretty much set in stone who every player in the NFC and the AFC will play. And now we got a whole week to discuss it. What is your initial thoughts about the Eagles being back in the playoffs and us taking on the Buccaneers? Tom Brady, the Super Bowl champions of last year.
Man, it's tough. It's gonna be hard to really analyze because we're not the same team that we were the beginning of the season. A lot of things changed. A lot of the play calling changed. A lot of the strategy changed. Um, a lot of guys stepped up and improved. Uh, and the Bucks haven't looked that great recently either. You know what I mean? Compared to what they looked like at the beginning of the season. But if you do go off of just our first week 6 matchup, um, I don't think it was as close as the score said it was. You know what I mean? I feel like the Bucks kind of quit playing in like the middle of the third quarter and just started running the ball. And we had a little bit of a comeback later in the game, but my main fear is that Gannon plays conservative defense and Tom Brady just kind of sits back there and picks us apart. Because if we're not blitzing him and we're not putting pressure on him, I mean, he just finds every guy all the time. You know what I mean? And just accurate. But he is missing Antonio Brown. You know what I mean? So I didn't watch him today. His numbers were pretty good today against the Carolina Panthers. But without those, last time we played him, Antonio Brown had 13 targets, 9 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. So that was his main weapon against us. So that's a good sign for us that Antonio Brown had a little bit of a bipolar episode and quit football.
Yeah. Not only that, but I think his second best receiver was Chris Godwin. And he, unfortunately, I don't wish injury on nobody, but he suffered an ACL the tail
Mhm.
end of the season. So I think, it's just Mike Evans. And he was hampered, to say the least, when they played the Jets, when Antonio Brown went all rah, 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 cheerleader on the sideline. But if you're going out there with just Mike Evans and old Gronkowski, who could still do it, it's definitely a different complexion. They don't have Leonard Fournette. I don't know what his status is. Maybe he played today. I just know last week they didn't have him. They had some linebackers banged up, but still, whenever you got to go against the GOAT, you got to be on your P's and Q's. And you just said it. Jonathan Gannon is the weakest link of this team. And I'm not saying our team is so tough where we got a bunch of strong ones. But still, Jonathan Gannon is the weakest link. Just from what I saw last night, not going to hold too much stock in it because it was our backups, but it still reminded me of week 1 through 6 when we played quarterbacks that were B plus and better, how he just tailed back and pretty much let them do whatever they want. The Eagles allow the lowest yards per completion for the simple fact that they're dinking and dunking against us, and it's working. Guys don't have to throw for 10 to 15 to 20 yards against us because of how wide open the easy pass is. Do you think, though, again, Jonathan Gannon did switch it up. When you look at the numbers, we were a team that plays predominantly zone. We played man only between 18 to 19% of the time the early part of the season. We switched it all the way up to 30% man, which ain't a lot, but it's definitely the wrinkle that we want to see. Some blitzes, but that was against the State Farm quarterbacks and you know what I mean? Jake Fromm, Tyler Heineke, the Jets quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, Jared Goff. Now, again, you only play who you play, so I can only go off of Gannon from that. But it's funny that if we finally play a decent quarterback, Prescott, and it goes right back to the same old style soft zone. I can only put the little caveat that when you got guys who you just printed up their jersey to play, you physically made their jersey this week to play, you
Yeah.
probably want to play that style anyways. But what is your take? Do you think we coming out and playing any different than we did in the second half when we're going against the GOAT?
You're uh you're probably you're right about that with the Gannon thing. As soon as we played a good quarterback again, he went back to. But I honestly had trouble even paying attention to that game once I already knew it was meaningless. You know what I mean? But just really like, I mean, I tweeted I think towards halftime, and I was like, why are the Cowboys trying to win this game? Like they had their starters out there the whole time. I don't even remember when they pulled them, but I just don't. I didn't really pay that much attention to the game, and I don't really want to say anything about strategy. Maybe they weren't even trying. Maybe they were just like, let's just run around and then go home. I mean, I don't know, but it's just hard to analyze this team because we haven't played. You know, the win streak that we went on was really against nobody good. And I do credit the Eagles to the point that if we were a terrible team, like I thought we were going to be in the beginning of the season, we would have had trouble beating those guys. You know what I mean? So I think we're better than terrible. We're better than Jake Fromm and whoever the hell else was out there. But last time we played a good quarterback, you know, it's just conservative and they pick us apart. So I hope he keeps up that 30% percentage that you said. But I don't know. I don't want to be ultra negative here, but I don't. If I had to choose, I'm not going with I'm not going Eagles over the Bucks. I think if we stick with the run game and we can put up a fight, uh, but just from seeing what good quarterbacks have done to the secondary throughout the season, I think Tom Brady's going to do it to us. I just want to see effort and heart and a good fight, honestly.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we are going against the Super Bowl champions, and although the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had their up and downs, you got to remember that this is a team that was up and down last year until the playoffs came. Once the playoffs came, Tom Brady said, "Hey, I live in these Jones, so I'm going to do what I do," and they put the beat down on everybody. And it was funny though, because if you look at last year, the closest team to beat the Buccaneers was the Washington football team. In the wild card weekend, they played a team from the NFC East that wasn't really supposed to be there, and they gave them their closest matchup because the Bucks did pretty much do what they want with the Saints and the Packers. That Washington football team gave them fits to it. Came down to the last possession, so you never can count anybody out in the sense that look at the Colts. The Colts had if the Colts would have beat the Jacksonville Jaguars during the playoffs. So essentially, this was a playoff game for the Indianapolis Colts, who were a 9-win team, had an opportunity to get to 10 wins. They could have been 10-7, first year with Carson Wentz. It would have been one game less than Old Man Rivers, but they would have been back in the playoffs. Jacksonville's like, damn, do we really want to win? We got a chance to get the number one or number 2 draft. And they beat up on the Colts. That's just how weird the NFL is. And where you have the NBA, the better team's always going to win because of series, right?
Series, yep.
But in football, it's just one and done. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed on the wrong Sunday. Well, It is what it is. But shout out to Seth with the $5 super chat. Go ahead and read that one. I think that's for you.
Yo, Seth, thank you, man. Welcome back, Eastwood. Had to come show some love. Philly missed you. I was praying for you the whole time, and we'll continue to. Well, thanks, bro. It was just, I mean, it wasn't really anything that serious. It was just YouTube taking forever to review something that should have been over in 24 hours. That's really all it is, man. It's the system is ridiculous. But thanks for thinking about me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And another one from Aaron said, we could win this game if and it's a big if. If Gannon doesn't play horrible zone defense, that gets shredded by good quarterbacks, and it never works. Yeah, I think that's in the back of every single Philadelphia Eagle fan's mind because we've seen it too many times. And this is not just any quarterback, right? See, the one thing about good quarterbacks like a Prescott or a Matthew Stafford is that they haven't been in this moment too often to where they might press the issue, think Philly's going to take them softly, and then make the big mistakes. But that's something that Tom Brady don't do. He normally plays within whatever the flow of the game is. That's just something he does. I mean, people didn't like that Rams and Patriots game where it was like 3-13, but that's what you do. You play within.
Mm-hmm.
That was a game where Brady couldn't beat the Rams defense, but he played within the system and said, hey, I just got a game managers thing. Let my defense do what they do and not make the big mistake. And it got him a Super Bowl win. So what is your take on our offense? Of course, Nick Sirianni switched it up, run the ball more. But I know you were definitely on the up and down Jalen Hurts coaster of the 2021 season. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Looking at him through the last couple games, do you see growth at all from the early part of the season?
I definitely do see growth in certain aspects. Like the first thing I see growth in is his pocket presence. It's staying in the pocket and trusting what's going on, because like even when I just went back like an hour ago and rewatched the highlights of the week 6 against the Bucks, and he would just bounce out of the pocket. You know what I mean? Like boom, no pressure at all, just run. And sometimes he was even trying to run around the edge blocker who was sealing the pocket for him. Like, bro, stay there. That's why the dude's over there. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think he improved a lot with that. And I think, again, Sirianni started calling the game the way that should have been obvious from the beginning of the season, which will always just confuse the hell out of me. Like, how did I feel like I could have asked you, I could have asked anybody on the street, how should you call the game with Jalen Hurts? And it would have been it's a young quarterback that has passing issues, at least coming out of college, and things that he needs to improve on. You should be a run heavy team and not put too much pressure on him. He comes out throwing the ball 57 times a game, not running the ball at all. It absolutely made no sense. So the fact that he flipped the switch still confuses me. And then I thought he would revert back to it, but he stuck with it. So I guess at least he's humble enough, you know what I mean, to have looked in the mirror and been like, all right, maybe this ain't working. Maybe I do need to switch it up. Maybe the fans know more than me, and I got to listen to him. I don't know, but I'm just hoping. I think that he doesn't get like lost in the moment of a big game and try to like, you know what I mean, revert back to something or try to go pass happy or something like that, because I don't think that'll be good for us. Um, but I've seen an improvement on Jalen Hurts just with his patience, I guess, in the pocket. Um, and you can get it done with Jalen Hurts to a certain extent if you're calling it right, if the plays match his skill set. And I don't want to say hiding his deficiencies, but just don't throw the ball over 30 yards and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think his deep ball definitely is one of his weak spots. I wouldn't, and it's definitely not arm strength. To me, it's the lower body mechanics and it's the long, uh, long release that he has throwing the ball, and the fact that he does sometimes processes the second and third read a little too slow. So if it's a deep ball that is his first read, it's out, right? But when he
Mhm.
has to get to his second and third read, his lower body's not equal with his upper body, and he's not processing it quick enough that he throws it late. So it's not necessary that he's weak, but any quarterback that throws it late, there's only so much field and so much distance, right? 40 yards is 40 yards, but you got to throw that 40 yards, 50-yard pass in the air with the player running under it. When he's already close to 40, 50 yards, he got to stop. So that's where the difference is in arm strength. I think he can throw. If you line up all the quarterbacks, he's going to be in the middle of the pack when it comes to how far they can throw in a for fun
Oh
simulation
yeah.
game, right? It's the fact that these quarterbacks get it out when the receiver's 30 yards deep instead of 45 yards deep, and that's
Mhm.
how they can stay under it. And so all that is coming into, but like you said, his panic button, which was my biggest thing, has been hit less. Even when he does get out the pocket, he's keeping his eyes down the field. He's being a little bit more accurate in the intermediate and middle throws. He's actually thrown in the middle. I think some of our guys got to help him out because we had some easy drops from Dallas Goedert, Jalen Rager. You see JJ Arcega-Whiteside come in the game last night and just drop the easiest pass in the world. It's just
My
been a
God.
Eagles kryptonite. And so that's why I'm so glad we got a guy like Devontae who did break I can't talk, Deshaun Jackson's record with
Yeah.
916 yards. He needed an extra game. But yeah, Jalen is not, but that's the thing, right? He started playing full time as a starter in September. It's
Uh-huh.
December. People act like he should be able to hang up his cleats and try to go for the Hall of Fame or whatnot. Nah, he's only 23 years old. Um, the reason he has the reason he's able to win games while working on his arm is because his other skill set, which is so good, he does make clutch throws at the end, right? You got to credit a guy who can't hit people open all game like the Carolina game, right? That was one of his bad games. But then
Uh-huh.
the defense and the run game and whatever else is keeping us in it, you can believe in a guy who was off all game to get on in that fourth quarter. So he's just a gamer, a playmaker, and that is what I'm holding his good qualities now is his playmaking and gamer ability. And
Yeah.
you did see from, as you said, Tampa Bay to this easy stretch, we only play who we play, the growth in just quarterback decisions. And so, you know, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, maybe more polished in their first year starting, but they won with the running game first, make the throws late. And so I'm definitely willing to wait and see, especially when you look at this aging defense that we have. And so that's one thing that I know I'm going to get from you. I'm going to get your reaction from every Sunday's game. And a lot of people don't realize that's what we do, right? As much as
Huh?
we want to talk about the whole season in its totality, it's also what we think. We're also opinion. It's an opinion podcast. And
Yeah.
so you can't kill somebody for your opinion. You just got to listen. Sometimes you got to agree to disagree.
Oh yeah. I think most people are good at understanding that. Some people just can't handle it, and they just hate somebody that says something that they disagree with. But we've been doing this for a little while now. I'm used to it. Um, I think when you talk about arm strength, I do think he could throw the ball far. I think he doesn't really have any control over it. Um, and I don't know if he ever will. It just seems like a lot of times he just kind of floats it and like, oh, where's it going? You know what I mean? It's either going to be left, right, short, high, low. Um, but a lot of it is timing. And if you really like watch it over and over again, it might look like it's 15 yards short, but really he hesitated. You know what I mean? And it's that split second of like if he would have got it out when he should have got it out, it would have hit him in stride. But he waited that split second, and then it's 10 yards short. The receiver has to come back for it. He did it twice last week. The one to Devontae, you know what I mean, would have been a touchdown in the corner of the end zone. He had to come back for it. The one to Quez Watkins, he had to come back and fight it off of the defender and basically play defense at that point, and ended up being two of his longest completions of the game. I just haven't really seen a very accurate deep ball released like when it should be released. I think it's something that he can improve on to a certain extent. I don't think he's ever going to be a Donovan McNabb, you know what I mean? And just 1st and 10 from your own 20, 65-yard bomb, you know what I mean, in the guy's hands. It's just like you just have to call the game the right way. I think he could be a game manager who makes plays at the right time. But I also think Howie Roseman is going to do something big with these 3 draft picks that a lot of Eagles fans are going to be upset about.
Oh, so you still got in the back of your mind a possible new passer for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think because I think this team has a lot of. It's almost like Joel Embiid with me right now, and like you got to put great players around him right now. The offensive line is like getting towards the end of their career, and it's a great offensive line, right? And it's like there's so many players that helped us win the Super Bowl. They're still on this team, and it's like Hurts could be a great quarterback in 3 years, but like, do we have 3 years to wait for the rest of this team to sit around and wait? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Howie's thinking the same thing, and he likes to be that guy.
he definitely does like to be that guy, and that Seth is bringing that up. How do we feel about Howie now with a lot of picks and stuff? We're definitely going to talk about Howie, but real quick on that note, yeah, I think our offensive line is the reason really why we turned it around. Just the protection that they do give Jalen Hurts, and then of course the run lanes that are opened up. You saw us win with Howard, Sanders, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell can run the ball behind this offensive line. It's definitely been a staple of what we do. And
Oh
you look
yeah,
at guys like Lane Johnson, older, but he's looking pretty good. He probably got 2 to 3 years and at Lane Johnson's body of work, but Kelsey's
yeah.
definitely on his way out. With if it's not this year, it's next year. Brandon Brooks is somebody that we've been one of the best offensive lines without. I think we got to move on, but I still do. We can't forget though, Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata have been just as important
It's true.
as Kelsey and Lane. And Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson are their babies in the game. And if there's one thing, as long as we lock up Jeff Stoutland, think about Herbig, right? Nobody really want to give him credit, but he's been in the game for the majority of the season and he's been playing good. Driscoll looks
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. I mean, and even Kelsey and Jordan and Kelsey being a Hall of Fame type center, he was drafted late, 6th, 7th round. So as much as I want to give these guys credit and Mulata for learning the game, being a rugby player, Jeff Stoutland is a guru among gurus. And as long as the Eagles call out a offensive lineman in the draft, blah, 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 from this place in the 5th round, I'm going to be like, yo, we got a good one. How do you know? I don't know. We got Jeff Stoutland. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If it's not this year, it's next year. He's going to be something of importance. So I don't think, as long as Howie's around, there's one thing he's going to worry about, and that's the offensive line and the defensive line. It's not always the sexiest pick when you're looking at corners and linebackers and blah, 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 which we definitely got to get. But it definitely, I mean, the Eagles haven't been a losing organization. So as much as it won Super Bowl in the last 20 years, there's only one team that's tied with us for playoff wins. And that's the Packers, right? So the NFL is a different animal in the sense of getting lucky. There's only ever been one guy in one organization that's been able to do it, just whenever they want throughout different decades. And that's the Patriots with Tom Brady. But even the best, think about Aaron Rodgers, right? And the Packers. He got one Super Bowl. He's only been there one time. You know what I mean?
It's not easy to do.
For how great he is. He's been there one time. That's it.
And I think like the whole Andy Reid era, we always had a great offensive line, we always had a great defensive line, and a lot of that Howie Roseman was around for that whole time. You know what I mean? When he started in like 2000 as an assistant. So maybe he'll turn this around. Like I said, these guys are getting towards the end of the career. Maybe he's rebuilding it. You know what I mean? Quicker than I think he is when you talk about Jordan Mailata and those guys. So maybe it's just something that Howie Roseman's always kind of been good at, building the trenches, and maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe he can keep it going. And I don't know.
But real quick, getting
the linebacker thing just throws me off, and that brings me back to what I think Tom Brady's going to do to us is look right over the middle of the field, because that's what he did in Week 6. Everything was right over the middle, bro. Right over the middle.
TJ Edwards wasn't there though. You got.
That's true.
Let me ask you this, and he's not a world beater.
More than they looked. They have stepped up. They have.
Yeah. And my thing is this, and every time I talk about linebackers, people talk about TJ Edwards. Listen, I love the kid. I thought he should have been starting from the beginning. I thought his problem, even in the Doug Peterson era, was the fact that he wasn't healthy. But he's not going to make or break me from picking a stud linebacker in the draft, though. You know what I mean? The more, the merrier. You still got to put at least 2 linebackers on the field. And Alex Singleton is not a guy who can start. We saw Alex Singleton play better in the second half of the season. Why? Because he got limited role. He's just a smaller guy. If you give him a certain amount of snaps and he's always got his stamina and he got his legs behind him, he could make a play or two, right? But if he's out there like a normal linebacker, he gets abused.
Yeah, they target him. Go right at him.
They go right at him. So TJ Edwards is good, but I definitely want to get a linebacker. And the Eagles haven't drafted a linebacker. Don't quote me. It's in the 70s, but I want to say 1978 is the last time they drafted a linebacker in the first round.
Oh my
goodness.
In the 70s? In the 70s? Was nobody in the 90s? Nothing?
Not in the first round. Not in the first round. He wasn't a first rounder.
Oh man. That was a good find though. Maybe we shouldn't hope that they're going to draft one in the first round. Then maybe we should just hope that we can find somebody second or third.
We never had 3 first rounds too. So that last round, if there's a guy there, you definitely got to look at him. But you think if the Eagles would move off Jalen Hurts after this season, which to me I think is just crazy in a sense when you look at totality, right? First year coach, first year quarterback. A regime that was looking bad, 2-5, and regardless how and who our opponents were, nobody believed we were going to get there, right? This is my thing about getting there with an easy schedule at the tail end. Not just you, but when everybody, including Vegas and everybody, was picking how many games the Eagles would win, they saw the Broncos, the Lions, the Jets, the Giants twice, and the Washington twice. They saw our schedule. So to me, it was funny, and I had to go on Twitter. It's like, people like, of course the Eagles made the playoffs because the schedule was easy. I'm like, whoa. This was picked when you knew the Broncos. You knew who was on the opponent. It's not like we changed our schedule midway. We snuck one on you. So we were supposed to be as bad enough to lose to the Broncos. The Saints were supposed to beat us with whoever's there. And even we were supposed to be a team that it's a coin flip against the Jets. It's a coin flip against the Giants. It's a coin flip against
Mhm.
the Lions. And we blew these teams out
Yeah.
for the majority.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I had us splitting with the Giants, splitting with the Washington football team. That's how low I had us. You know what I mean?
We did
And
split with the Giants, though.
um,
Low-key, don't want to talk about it.
oh yeah, we did actually. We did. Well, that was Danny Dimes though, right? That wasn't a Jake Fromm, State
Nah,
Farm, or whoever the hell
yeah.
was back
But
there.
really, in retrospect, Hurts beat us that game. That was his worst game of his career. He had the 3 picks. Then Boston
Uh-huh.
Scott fumbled late. I mean, and we were still in the game. That's how bad the Giants are.
Yeah, and then when you talk about him improving, he played the same defense when he played him again. You know what I mean? And he didn't put up a 17 passer rating. So, he looked good. It's been so unpredictable. I think a lot of times we try to make a prediction, and a lot of fans have it easy compared to people that are on a podcast because you could just be quiet the whole season until the end, and then be like, "Oh, look," you know what I mean? But then you could point out all season long. Well, you said this in week 3. And then you said this in week 5. I'm like, yeah, well, we looked like shit against the Cowboys when we got blown out. You know what I mean? We looked like whatever. I was reacting to the game. But yeah, the second half of the season, I didn't have us running the table, no matter who was back there. So that's definitely better than I thought we were going to be. But I think Eagles fans have very short memories, and when you run the table like that against the teams that were there, I think they all kind of forget everything that happened throughout the entire course of the season. And I just think we're setting ourselves up for disappointment if we're going to sit here and act like there's people saying like Hurts can lead us to the Super Bowl. Like there's people honestly saying that. How you got to be realistic here. You watched the entire season. You didn't just watch the last 4 games.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Hurts is going to revert back to that. I'm saying the team as a whole is definitely going to it's not going to be perfect. So, you know what I mean? I don't even think we can upset the Bucks. I just want them to put up a fight. But Eagles fans will do what they do, and and that's being a fan of a team. You know what I mean? I'm just a Negadelphian, I guess. I do the same thing with the Sixers, man. We get to the playoffs against whoever else, and people are like, "We got this, we got this." And if I really don't feel like we do, I'm just gonna kind of say it.
Well, no, that's one thing I love about you is your bluntness and the fact that you just say what you feel. And again, I think the Eagle fans that we do got short memory in the sense of who we played, how we got there, but we also got we don't have the middle ground memory. We got super long-term memory, and then we got the short-term memory. And the long-term memory is that this franchise, again, and a lot of other fans will say, why do you just cap it off at 20 years? Well, because I'm only 30, right? So I got into football about 20 years ago. Yes, I watched it when I was 6, 7, but probably not until I was 9 or 10 did I really understand the game and actually decided to pick that over my favorite Pokemon show or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. As kids, you're kids. And so, this is an organization that had Howie around, and Jeff Lurie was the owner. And no matter how unknown a coach was, like 'cause Andy Reid was a quarterback coach for Green Bay, right? Chip Kelly was a weirdo that kind of broke us up, but even he won games. So we haven't been an organization that picked. We don't take retreaded coaches. We don't take a guy who's been there, done that, who got fired from a regime. It's always the brand new. And Andy Reid
Yeah.
was looked at weird, and everybody was. Doug Peterson was looking at like, who is this guy? You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And good things have happened to the Eagles in a sense that my mindset as an Eagle fan is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Until somebody shows me we're bad, I'm not going to believe it because I've seen the 6 and 4 win games, seasons, but it normally turns around with a playoff appearance, right? And
Mhm.
as bad as we were, right? And we've been going down and down and down since the Super Bowl, but we're still a team that has 5 years, a Super Bowl, and 4 playoff appearances. So, because the NFL is a game of one and done and it's not a series, and we see the Giants do crazy things twice. And I guess they had a great defense, not going to sugarcoat it. And they had a quarterback that can get it done in the playoffs, and Eli Manning. But you really just never know in the sport of football. And then the Eagles got a track record of just being around. They're never that team. Like we seen the Giants in Washington and Cleveland before they got good now, and Oakland before they went to Los Angeles, and Miami before these last 2 years. When they were bad, they weren't bad for 1 or even 3. it's like a nickel or a dime. They're down for a
Yeah.
decade, and the
Well,
Eagles just don't stay down that long.
that was us in the 90s. We were bad.
We were down. We were
Like the whole
down.
90s. Which
Yeah.
makes me ask the question, is it Howie Roseman? You know what I mean? Like, is Howie Roseman really like everybody hates him, but is he really the guy that's like, listen, we're not going to be bad for 2 years because I'm going to rebuild the trenches and I'm going to do all the, like, is he really secretly way more of a genius than anybody thinks? Like,
Well,
I don't know, man.
Let's talk about Howie, right? Because of course, when you look at Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson and JJ Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf and Andre Dillard being not the first round left tackle that you signed, and even Derek Barnett being a 14th overall pick that just hasn't panned out. He was okay in the Super Bowl regime, but we had a stout of defensive linemen. You could pick that stuff, but like the things he does with the cap, the thing he does via trade, via free agency, you can't overlook that. And the grass ain't always greener. GMs are getting fired around the league, and Howie Roseman keeps getting his roots dug in even deeper. And yes, if you look at every GM across the league, right, you can look at Seattle and say that GM is smart because he got DK Metcalf, and look at the wide receivers he got for Russell Wilson and blah, 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 blah. Why does Russell Wilson want to get out of there? Oh, yeah, because they refuse to draft offensive linemen. You know what I mean? So it ain't always greener on the other side, and Howie Roseman does believe in the trenches, and that's why during this season, when I looked at the offensive line, and the defensive line let us down big time this season. But when I came into the season, regardless of what Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and these young receivers, and I said there's no way a top 5 to 10 offensive line and defensive line is going to be kept that low because that's the foundation of football. And people refuse to realize that. And then you got a team that's this brand new, go off the strength of an O-line and pretty much do exactly what I said in the offseason, win with them.
Yeah, and I mean, to find somebody, even like to find Jordan Mailata, like that's actually just ridiculous. To watch what he was doing in rugby games and be like, yo, this guy can be a great offensive lineman in the NFL. Like, what?
Like, what did Mailata say when we called him? He was like, football? What's football?
I still think we should hand it to him on the goal line at least once in his career.
I would love to see that. Hey, Nick getting a little spicy. Lane Johnson caught a touchdown. Darius Slay in the backfield to be a decoy. Hey, keep sleeping on Darius Slay. They're going to slip it out to him one time. He's going to take one to the house.
That man can run. He can still run for sure.
For real. We got a super chat from Aaron. He said, everyone wants to bash Howie, including me sometimes, but look at the resume. If you exclude 2016 as his first year back as GM, he's built a playoff team 17, 18, 19, 20. The 17-18 season, the 18-19, and the 21-22 season, including a Super Bowl. Yeah. And so, look, I've been a real downer on Howie, but this season I've gave him his flowers as much as I can. But I got to see how he executes this draft. I do believe as we start to re-sign, because we extended Sweat, we extended Maddox, we extended Goddard. So that 2018 draft looking real good, right?
Yep.
2019, not so much, but 2020, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, 2019, not so much. 2020, Devontae. We got Devontae and Dickerson, and even Milton Williams is starting to make noise as a rotational piece. So a GM that got us that type of draft capital in 2020, Landon Dickerson, Smith, and Milton Williams, to also get us off Carson Wentz's contract, who's not in the playoffs.
He escaped that.
That one. And now he set us up with 3 first-round picks. So as much as I'm kind of scared, like, don't blow it, I got to see. But I can't cap off that perfect turnaround for Howie Roseman until I see the draft picks, right?
Yeah. And maybe the bad picks probably stand out and get highlighted more than anything else. You know what I mean? When it's JJ Arcega-Whiteside and the guy's just completely awful at football somehow, then that's all anybody really remembers, out of the whole draft is, he drafted this guy and the guy sucks. And then it's Jalen Reagor. He drafted this guy and so maybe those things stand out more than the positives that he actually does. And the whole, like some of the rants that I had back when he drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round with the Carson Wentz team and all that stuff, man, he's like, I feel like Howie just continues to make me look like not an NFL GM. Like Howie makes me continue to look like if Howie Roseman could talk to me, he would say, "This is why you're on YouTube and you're not an NFL GM.
Yeah.
I'm 10 steps ahead of you."
Well, yeah, he's definitely playing the long game, and so you can't really admire his picks until it happens, right? Because Maddox, you know what I mean? He gets drafted. I like him in the slot. Then he gets forced to play outside the slot, and he's starting to look a little bit bad. Josh Sweat drafted in the 4th round. He's not really getting rotation. We're like, what is he ain't doing nothing. Jordan Mailata, he's just a piece that is floating around. I'm like, okay, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, but it's been now 2-3 years. I'm not seeing him trend to being a starter. But then it's like the long game, bang, 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 boom, boom. And if anybody look, as much as I dislike Howie, and same with you, I mean, we go off on him. And some of the people in the chat, shout out to the almost 400 people in here. Hit that like button wherever you're watching. It's free. Don't cost a thing. I don't understand a person who can't, people just don't want to be wrong. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna say I'm sorry and he's doing good. You know what I mean? And right now, I can't be mad at Howie until maybe the draft. And I know a lot of people in here are still gonna probably say Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf, and as you said, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, especially when it's fresh in the head, because JJ dropped one that fell in that hit every part of his body all the way down. He's still gonna catch it. But
how's he still here? How's he still here? That's insane. Like that's the basics.
Too,
that's the most basic part of being an NFL wide receiver. You can't even catch the football.
Yeah, it's bad.
I just don't understand how he's still here.
Well, you think it's the coaching staff keeping him around? Or you think it's Howie? I think it's Howie.
It is Howie. Yeah. He doesn't want to be. Yeah, he doesn't like to be wrong. Yeah,
correct.
He's
waiting for one of them. He's like, well, maybe if we keep him around, 3 years later, they can do something and I can get back on the good terms. But people do miss on draft picks, and it's not as bad. But talking about, before we get back to this Eagles and Bucks matchup, I didn't think Reagor would be better than Jefferson necessarily, but I thought Reagor had a skill set that was usable in the NFL. And I just can't believe how bad he's been to start his career.
Yeah, and I was really high on Reagor. I even made a whole video about how he was a sleeper of the draft, and I was posting his highlights and all this stuff. I called him a bigger, stronger Deshaun Jackson. Like I thought he could be great. And then you looked at his 40 time, and it was like, wow, we got so much speed, and nobody could have predicted that. But I think that's the thing with sports now and social media and everything. Everybody acts like they knew the whole time what was about to happen. You know what I mean? Everybody acts like, how could he draft Reagor? Like, you weren't saying that when he drafted him. You weren't, I don't remember anybody screaming and yelling. Like, we knew Justin Jefferson was the guy that was even the number one at LSU. You know what I mean? In big games, he was the guy, but there was things that we were saying. He had the best quarterback in college football. He had this, he had that, nobody really knew.
He played in the slot majority, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Nobody really knew he was going to set NFL rookie records and things, and Jalen Reagor was going to be terrible. So that's just anything. Like somebody just said in the comments, and I was waiting for this. You're a Wentz lover, eat that mud pie. And that just doesn't, because when Carson Wentz was playing at an MVP level, Spike 23 was not in the YouTube comments telling people Carson Wentz sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean, bro? And then when 2020 happened and the whole team fell apart and Carson Wentz was playing terrible, I was saying that. I wasn't making excuses for him. I was saying the team looks bad, but Carson Wentz holding the ball too long. He's making stupid plays. And I was calling for his benching. I wanted to see Jalen Hurts. That's just how I am. I'm open-minded enough to be able to change my mind, I guess. All right, Carson Wentz is playing terrible. I don't want to see it anymore. Put Jalen Hurts in the game. I wasn't sitting here making excuses.
Yeah, I agree, and I've been watching DJ Eastwood for the longest time, and he was out on Carson Wentz. I think he was out on Carson Wentz before I was out on Carson Wentz, to be honest. And that's just one thing I do. I'm gonna rock with my quarterback as long as I can until I physically can't no more, because there's no use to arguing over someone who's going to be playing for your team every week unless he's just absolutely bad. And once it got to that point, it is what it is. See, I think the narrative is if you don't like Jalen Hurts, you had to have loved Carson Wentz, right? It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You can dislike both of them. I don't. And DJ Eastwood has never really been. I mean, go back and watch his offseason videos. He was high on Jalen. He didn't get off him
Yeah.
until where what he does is he calls it like he sees it, whether he wants to be the first one on it, whether he's right or wrong, he just says what he wants. And after the bad performances in Dallas and us losing the first 5 out of 7, there was reason for people to question. And what he does every day is what I'm doing. And you got to say your opinions on the tube, right? It's as simple as
Yeah.
that. But he'd be the first one to
Mhm.
tell you, I was wrong. Carson Wentz stunk. And I was wrong about Jalen Hurts as being at least a winner. He still has questions about his throws, and I can't disagree with it. I just think that he has came a long way in such a short time. And Jalen Hurts has been a guy who has, Alabama playbook, Oklahoma playbook, Doug Peterson playbook, now Nick Sirianni playbook. So I think if he can continue to grow the way he's growing, keeping Brian Johnson, Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni feeling comfortable, really having a playoff win or loss under his belt, he can go in a year 2 and we can start seeing. Now we expect the passing to grow at a little bit of a faster rate because it's going to keep going up. He's never going to be the Tom Brady or the Aaron Rodgers just sit back there and just kill you. But, can he be a faster learner at throwing the ball accurately or down the field than Lamar Jackson was? Because Lamar Jackson is in year 4 and he's a lot better than he was, but he still has some problems, right?
Yeah.
Throwing the
Yeah.
ball at times. So, I credit a guy, and Jalen Hurts has never showed me to be a guy who's like, I'm not, you know what? I made the playoffs. I'm going to relax on my morals. He's a guy, Jeff Stoutland and him have meetings together. He goes over to offensive line meetings because he wants to know where and when they're going to be. He does have the mindset to where, if a certain person tells me he's going to work on his craft, I might be like, yeah, not really. You might not. You just happy where you are. He looks to be the guy who works on it, and you saw it already from September to December. He's gotten a little bit better. Real quick,
Yeah.
I shine with the $2 super chat. Jonathan Gannon is our Eagles X factor this week. Yes, we definitely talked about that. But getting back to the Bucks, going into Tampa Stadium, how much of an underdog do you think we're going to be? Like, if you had to guess the spread for this game.
Oh, I think we're a major underdog, and I think everybody's going to say the same thing that kind of we just went over that people are saying about the end of the season schedule and everything like that. I can just hear the announcers right now saying, the greatest quarterback of all time, Super Bowl this, Super Bowl that, against a young, inexperienced, whatever. I think we're going to be looked at as super underdogs, and it's a good point that you brought up about it being a one game. You can wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Tom Brady could have a bad day. You know what I mean? His
He's just
offensive
the only
line
one
could
who
be a
never
step
does,
slow.
though. He
Yeah, he
just
never does. He never does. You got to outshoot him. That's the thing. When we won the Super, people are saying the last time we played Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, what happened? I'm like, yeah, we had to throw for 550 yards. We had to. There was no stopping him, and we had to win the game with a strip sack. We had to get to him because he was going to kill us and win that game. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. I
that
said,
was scary.
yeah, if you didn't hit him in the biggest moment of the biggest game of the season, he's not gonna miss. So you
Yeah,
got to hit him.
I
So
agree.
hopefully we can hit him.
Well, that's one of the things we just don't do. I think we're like in the bottom 7 of in the league in sacks, bro.
I think
We
it's
got
because we play so conservative, though. I don't know if it's necessarily that our personnel's that terrible. I mean, we don't have any superstar like linebackers are going to fill the hole or blitz in a safety or anything like that. But I've seen blitzes so far from Gannon, at least in the second half of the season, that I didn't see in the first half, and I was like, "What the hell did I just see? Did I just see a corner blitz on a side? Like, did I just see a little bit of creativity? Overloading one side, trying to make an offensive lineman pick his poison, like." Having strategy. So I don't know. I hope he doesn't play conservative. I think he would know not to.
yeah.
But when we lost 32-0 in the preseason, it was a preseason game and we weren't supposed to freak out about it. But his post game interview, he said, We just didn't want to get beat deep. That's why we were playing so. And I'm like, what? He said that on TV, and then he did the same thing the whole season. That was his
Yeah.
strategy.
Yeah, it's definitely he's like, and we do lead the league with not allowing explosive plays. But I mean, it hasn't translated into playing good defense. The crazy part is this.
Because you only need 10 yards at a time. That's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's some stats, and you heard about Jonathan Gannon getting consideration on being a possible head coaching candidate for somebody, blah 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 blah. Since the Raiders game, Jonathan Gannon has been the best second half defensive coordinator in the NFC. We are 12th in points per game scored on us and 5th in total yards. Credited to who we were playing. I know that. But you know why he's also such uh and even while playing because Herbert's a part of that, right? And playing some of these bad quarterbacks. You know why he's so good at the second half? Is because he's probably one of the worst first halves. The thing is with him is when he does adjust, he doesn't do it until halftime. Like he needs to go in the locker room and sit down and do whatever he does to even adjust. He's not going to like the crazy thing is this. A team will come out hot on us in the first drive, like the Washington football team did. Boom, he does that. We're playing soft. Second possession, they do it again. We're playing soft. Third possession, fourth possession, we're playing soft. It's not until that fifth or sixth possession into the third quarter where we start to adjust. But it's like, bro, you couldn't have just did that a little earlier.
Yeah, I don't get it. And at least he's willing to adjust. Like the same thing I would say about Sirianni with the young coach that's inexperienced. He doesn't yet have that ego. You know, when the Doug Peterson thing started going downhill, that dude was just gonna run it into the dirt until he got fired. He was not changing a damn thing for anybody. So at least these guys are young and can look at themselves in the mirror and say, like, I need to do this different. I need to do that different. Instead of like, I won a Super Bowl. I know more than everybody. I'm not changing anything. But yeah, I don't know why he waits so long to adjust. I really don't. But he has to know you can't play conservative against Tom Brady. That's common sense.
Yeah. And the one thing that we got to credit our beat writers like the Howard Eskins and all these guys, right? They ask the questions that we really want to know, right? And so he's been told many times about, okay, bad quarterbacks, you play good defense. Good quarterbacks, you play horribly soft defense. When is it going to stop? And I think as he talked about the soft, got a question about the soft defense a night in and night out, he started to play a little bit more man, a little bit more blitz, a little bit more this. It's not crazy amount, but he did it more. And he has to have that in his mind. I'm hoping whoever questions him this week, they got to be fresh in his mind that the difference between good quarterback and soft quarterback and bad quarterbacks, because you got the best quarterback ever coming out there to play to game plan against, and you have to show some looks. Tom Brady has seen every look 3 times. You know what I mean? You definitely got to disguise it, and you got to go out blazing, because at the end of the day, we started slow the last couple games. If you let Tom Brady get 10 points on you without scoring anything or without 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns, 14, it's over. It's probably over.
Because they're not going to let the foot off the gas. They were up 20 to 6 in the first half when we played them the first game. And then, or 20, I don't remember what the score was, but we came back in the second half. But they're not going to let the foot off the gas if they get ahead, like they did in the first game. And we gotta have a quick start. And Sirianni said the same thing, you know, after the Dallas game about whoever we play in the playoffs. We gotta have a quick start. We've had slow starts, and we don't look good in the first half of games. It's like 2 different games all the time. And I'm always on Twitter, so reading Twitter is just funny because it's just like, oh my God, the Eagles are horrible. And then like literally 20 minutes later, we're great. Because everything changes in the second half. If we can get a little bit more of that in the first half, we'll put up a fight.
Yeah, I agree there. Let me ask you though, are you more worried about Tampa Bay giving us trouble, their defense coming against our offense, or are you more worried about of course, I just shouldn't even ask that question. There are our defense. Like, do you think? All right, let me reword that one. because of course Tom Brady's who we're worried about. But do you think with some of and I don't know, I got to look at the full injury report. But I know they got some people nicked up at linebacker and at corner. Do you think with the growth of Jalen Hurts, and I think Jalen Hurts is playing his best football
He is.
of late,
He is.
via running and passing and just making the right throw, keeping his eyes down the field, being a little bit more accurate,
Uh-huh.
trusting in 50-50 balls with your guys. Do you think we could drop 27 to 30 points on a Buccaneers defense?
I mean, we put points up against other defenses. Like I said, he was terrible against the Giants, and then he played the same defense again and looked great against them. So it's just the inconsistency of probably just him being young and not having the time. Like I say, some of his throws, you're like, what the hell was that? And some of his throws, it's like a beautiful back shoulder corner of the end zone. Like, oh my god, did he just make that throw? So that's why it's hard for me to keep up with because I don't know what I'm getting week in and week out. But recently yeah, he looks a lot better than he did at the beginning of the season. He could put some points up. I think he's improved a lot also in the RPO making the right decision. I
Yeah.
thought he was so bad at that in the beginning of the season, and I think it's Nick Sirianni was running nothing but RPOs. But I think that Miles Sanders only having 2 carries in a whole game, like it was Hurts was just keeping the ball the whole time. I think he's making better reads in the RPO and knowing when to leave the pocket and knowing when to run, and he can kill people with his legs when he runs at the right time and reads the field right. So it's just something he's learning slowly. Um, it'd be really nice for us to come out and put some points up against the Bucks and shock the world. It'd be really nice. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not a just try to be realistic. I'm not an Eagles hater. It's not like I'm not gonna want. It's not like I'm not gonna be happy if we win, if we upset them. I would love
Yeah,
it.
people think DJ Eastwood's at home. Like, damn it, the Eagles scored again.
I know I'm not a Cowboys fan. I want to win. I'm just like I got so used to this team letting me down the past couple years. Here I am.
Yeah. So if you were Nick Sirianni, right, and you win the coin toss, right, it's the first, round one of the playoffs. Nick Sirianni has never been there. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, a lot of these young guys have never been there. You win the tip. Are you receiving it? Or are you kicking it? Are you giving Brady the ball first
Nah.
with a chance to get the ball at halftime in case you're losing? Or are you taking the ball first and trying to get up quickly on the goat?
Yeah, I think you have to take the ball first. I think you have to try to win this game from the beginning. You got to try to win the first half because if you give Brady the ball, like you said, they go up 2 scores, you're in trouble, especially because you want to dominate the game with time of possession and running the ball. And if you're down fast, now you got to be pass happy, and that's just I don't think that's going to go over well if you're forced to throw the ball more than you want to.
Yeah, so the first person, Philly Jackson, in the chat said receive it, and then Philly 52, I'm awake, and Geo Fisher and Philly John all say
Kick it.
kick. Like, look, kicking the ball is I like kicking the ball. Normally, I'm a kick the ball kind of guy because if you could get that first three and out, and then if you could get on the board first, you feel real good about getting the ball back at halftime. And also, if you are losing, you feel good about coming back. But there's one person you don't want to get going before you're going, and that is Tom Brady. The dude is half human, half machine. I mean, I'm co-signing. I'm taking the ball, and I need to see us go down and punch it in first for the simple fact Brady is Brady. And if we're playing any other team in the playoffs or every game this year, except for Tampa, I would have said kick it because I'm all about kicking. Because I'm hopefully defense gets out, gets that three and out, and you feel real good.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta receive it.
Yeah,
The
and
chat is all about the kick.
well, people forget too. There's regular season Tom Brady and there's playoff Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So no matter what he looked like in the past couple of weeks, even though he looked great today, I just by looking at his stats, I didn't watch the game, but Tom Brady's a different animal in the playoffs, and he actually might be to the point where what is he 44 years old, and this guy studies his body and his diet so to a T. He might be going 60% in the regular season just to get to the playoffs healthy.
You
You know what I
never
mean?
know. You never know. You see LeBron do that, right? LeBron be doing
Yeah.
that too. Last couple times, last year, couple years. It's scary and it's crazy just to see Big Ben at like 38, about to hang it up, and he
Yeah,
took
what
care
a
of his
win that
body.
was.
he took care of his body the total opposite. He was the
Couldn't do anything.
he didn't do nothing.
Comes in the off season 30 pounds overweight every season, bro. Takes him 7 weeks to get in shape.
Yep. Big Ben is the total opposite of Brady, but that's what I'm saying. And even him, I'm surprised he played a 38. Like the with the rule changes and blah blah blah, and how much you can't hit the quarterbacks, even though they get licked up a little bit. Paul's 44 years old, bro, and you know, I do think though. There's so much going on. I gotta look up if anybody in the chat knows what is Leonard Fournette's status. Because if they're coming in with no Leonard Fournette, I forgot the linebacker that's hurt. And like I said, Mike Evans was gimped up against the Jets. I don't know how he looked this today against whoever they played, but they blew him out. They put up 41 today. I don't remember. I didn't watch the game. I was watching the Rams game for the majority of the first half, but they put up 41 points. And at the end of the day, even with Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, and Gronkowski, Brady's won with the Deion Branches of the world and the lesser talent. But it's not AB, who DJ said in the beginning of this stream had 13 catches for almost 100 yards and a touchdown. Chris Godwin was second. So they are down weapons. If there was any time to play the Bucs, it's this time. But Brady's just never down.
And that's what I think Antonio Brown's downfall was, is that it's not about you with Tom Brady. It's not about the name on the back of your jersey. It's about you running the play, being in the right spot. If you get the ball, you get the ball. And what he said to Bruce Arians and what Bruce Arians said are two different things, but I'm more on believing the coaches over this knucklehead. And he was mad that he wasn't getting the ball. And that's going to happen to you with Tom Brady, because he's reading the whole game, bro. You know what I mean? If you might not get the ball the whole game, but just do your part. And you're playing with Tom Brady. What's wrong with you? Go win another Super Bowl, idiot. What a dumbass.
Yeah. Look, so as much as he said his leg was hurt, and I do not doubt that his leg was hurt, but he was jumping off the field before he didn't leave gingerly. He was jumping. And he went on the a full, what is that podcast that it's like Full Stead?
Full Send it's called, yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking about how Gronk getting paid a decent amount. It's all about the money for him. He's like, Tom Brady, my boy, why ain't they helping me? Why I gotta get a proven contract? What do you mean? Why you gotta get a proven contract?
I know, that was crazy. Like, what? Gronkowski's been loyal to him for like 15 years. Of course he's gonna get paid. Nobody knows if you're gonna be here tomorrow. Why are they gonna give you a contract?
Yeah, and he definitely needed a proven contract with all his shenanigans, and then he proved right away that if he's not getting the ball the way he wants to, and he mentioned, he was asking them, who's the best on that team catching the ball? It's me. He said, who? And here's another thing: when he came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because he was there the whole season last year, but he was suspended for the first 8 games because of that all that stuff, right? With that being said, the day he stepped on the field, if you go from that day to the end of the season, he led their team in targets and catches. So Brady already fed this man last year the most. And listen, this whole season, this year, he averages about 5 to 6. I forgot if it's targets or catches per game. When he went to halftime, he had that. So I don't understand what he was talking about. Like, I'm not getting targeted. I don't know. It was really that he and his agent went to the GM and said the $1.5 million, $2 million money in guarantee money and in incentives. Can I get that since I've been such a good player? They were like, no. He was like, what? I'm out.
That might have been it. That might have been it, man. Just such a weird, random way to quit football. And I don't know if anybody's gonna. That's the sad part. He's such an amazing talent. Like you just said,
great.
He led the team in the second half of last season, and he was great this whole season. Like, why don't you just shut up and keep being good? I don't get it. Yeah, you hear the guy talk, it's like, oh man, he's got screws loose, man.
Yeah, nobody want to tell me he's wrong. That's the biggest thing, right? I mean, y'all YouTube tells us when we wrong. Y'all gotta go start telling AB he wrong on his YouTube channel because he just like
Oh
he
yeah,
was.
no. Well,
Nobody tells him he's
if
wrong.
they knew what they were doing, they would have said that. Like that was Bob Menery and his podcast, and the guy's a comedian. You know what I mean? So they're just bringing him on there for the clout. So they're going to sit there and agree with everything he said.
Yeah.
But if they really wanted a viral video, somebody should have said to his face, "What are you talking about? Why are they not paying you? What are you talking about?" Somebody should have argued. That would have blown your podcast out of the water. Give me AB.
Yeah. Well, they did try to say something a little bit when he was saying like, who's the best one on that team? Who's the best one catching balls? I forgot. I don't know all their names. But the I forgot. Probably one of the main ones was like, well, I think it's a collaborative effort. And AB's like, oh, now it's a collaborative effort and shit. And they all and then the other two were like, nah, it's AB, it's AB. And then he was a little chill with it. But it's like, bro, he's AB's already on the show. You might as well put him in. You might as well do you at this point. You already got him, right?
That would have been great. That would have been great. His second antic is he smashes a bunch of microphones on a podcast and fights the host and shit. Like that would have, yeah. Got to keep it a
Yeah.
buck, man.
Yeah, that definitely would have. But yeah, man, Eagles versus Bucks. I think if I had to pick, we're on the road. I think it's gonna be like it might be even 7.5, bro. So I'm thinking 6.5, 7.5. The spread might be. I'm not sure. It's gonna be a lot, but there's something about the Eagles and Brady. Brady, he doesn't like us. No matter what he does when he goes to sleep at night and he looks at all his rings, he looks at the one that could have been because he had his best game of his career in the Super Bowl that he lost. Huh?
He made a comment this season about that, didn't he?
Yeah, he was when he remember how they do that golf stuff where they golf with people and stuff. He said something about that his biggest regret is letting the Eagles beat him in the Super Bowl or not beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl because that was his best stat. That was his best game stat wise ever. Like all his other Super Bowls had no comparison to that. And his best game is the one game he don't win. His best game of his career is the one game he don't win. That gotta hurt his feelings.
And the legendary photo of him sitting with his hand with his helmet in his hands. Oh man, just great.
Yeah. I actually like Tom Brady now more that we beat him. Like I really couldn't stand him, but now that we beat him, I feel like, you know what I mean? If all people can talk a little bit, it's us. But this is going to be a good game. Regardless of if we believe in each other or not, just the fact that we made it here. This is year one of the regime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people had us winning only a couple games. No matter how we got here, and it's very good knowing that we got 3 first-round picks, a playoff winner loss under our belt, and money to spend. That $34 million dead cap from Carson is off the books. Howie Roseman going to work his magic with like the Brandon Brooks situation, blah, 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 blah. So I can really see, look, Philadelphia's a big market, right? We got stars on the NBA. We got stars in the NFL. We got stars in MLB and Harper and that. So with the money we have, the draft picks we have, and the trajectory, we could probably make some moves in the offseason. And I'm looking at this team come 2022 a lot differently. I know DJ is low key like I'm looking at the quarterback position, seeing if it's still number one.
Well, it just you get 3 first-round draft picks, and there's nobody coming out of the draft that you should package them together to go up and get anyway. So, you know what I mean? It's tough, man. And it doesn't look like Russell Wilson's going to leave. He just made another comment about, like, I want to win another Super Bowl. I want to win it here. Who can predict Aaron Rodgers at all? That guy's just totally
Crazy.
Unpredictable. He's kind of Antonio Brown of quarterbacks, honestly. He's just great. He's so good that he can talk all the shit about a franchise to their face and go out and do what he does. But it's crazy that Howie Roseman pulled off the Carson Wentz thing, and then he could have got injured again and not played that 70% of snaps or whatever it was, and he got that, and then the way that he fleeced the Miami Dolphins is ridiculous, and still getting Devontae Smith at number 12, went from 6 to 10 or something. What
went from 6 to 12 back to 10.
Oh yeah, back up to 10. Yeah, to even get Devontae Smith at 10. Like, so the fact that he put those draft picks together is crazy. It's just about hitting on him in the first round at this point.
So, but is there anybody? I know you don't really look too hard in college, but is there anybody that you would take in college over Jalen Hurts right now?
No,
But
no,
so you,
nobody's looked like Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence.
yeah. So you would
No,
need it to be a Deshaun Watson or a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers thing to move on from Jalen Hurts.
yeah, yeah. At least for next season. Yeah, I think so because I think there's a lot of talent on this team, and I think if it's, I mean, Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, you can't say no to. But if you're not going to get one of those guys, and there's not really anybody in the draft that you want to go all your eggs in one basket. Um, and Hurts looks better than he did in the beginning of the season, so I say draft defense, 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 and do it again next season. But is he going to go linebacker corner at 1 and 2? Because like a Mika Parsons, Trayvon Diggs type of thing would be absolutely amazing for his team.
Yes, it would. Especially, I think Slay got at least 2 more years. He got 1 more year on contract, and I think we can extend him one. I think he's still playing good enough football that if you get that young quarterback on side of Slay, he got 2 years with Slay before he takes over. That's just going to be beautiful. But you heard it here first. DJ Eastwood, even though he was up and down the Jalen Hurts coaster, he's rocking with him in 2022.
I have to. I'm forced to.
Nah.
I want him to be great. I just don't see. I think he has small hands. I really do. It doesn't look like he has a lot of control over the ball when he throws it far. That's all.
Yeah, his deep ball is what he got to work on the most, no doubt about it. You know me, I'm rocking with Hurts. I was with him when people were abandoning ship, and I feel good at where he at. He still got a ways to go. He is only 23 years old. Look,
And
we've seen
his head's always in the right place, man. And I had an off-season video, and I said if anybody can improve, it's Jalen Hurts. Like this dude is locked in mentally. He knows. He says it a million times. You put in the work, it's going to show on the field. You put in the work, so he's willing to do everything he has to do, and he wants to. Just I don't know. You could try your best to be Michael Jordan. Not a lot of people are. I mean, you could try,
Kobe did it.
just saying. Came close.
Yeah, he definitely did. Nah, but what I gotta hang my hats on is I love his attitude to come into the season. I love the upside that he had. I love his athleticism. I love his playmaking. I love his will to win. And I love the fact that my biggest thing was the panic button. And that is one of the biggest things he's corrected. He still got to learn how to the read defenses a little bit. He got to see open guys. But I'm telling you, if we get like a guy like Gate City to break down everybody, I'm telling you, from the Prescotts to the Russell Wilsons to the Tom Brady's, they're going to be all 22s. We're like, dang, Brady, he's open. And he throws it to the check down just because of the situation scenario. The thing is, it happens more where Hurts because of the lack of years doing it. However, a guy who shows me this much improvement from September to December on certain things is not going to have me question that he can't do it. Will he ever be top 5? That is not for me to say this time. Will he ever be able to be the best deep ball thrower? I don't know. But what I do know is some of the biggest things he needed to fix, he has fixed, and we can only go off that. And if next year he's able to throw the ball 30 times a game, it's even better because all I want to see is steady growth. I know you think the offensive line is win right now, and there is 2 people on there that I believe you're right, but I just believe in the way we draft offensive linemen and in the way we groom these guys. That right now, I think just seeing how we did with Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, even Herbig and Driscoll, that I feel confident to say we got time for our offensive line, and everybody else on offense is young. You're talking about all under 25 except for Goddard, and then so I'm willing to wait the 2 or 3 years. And if we could be competitive and make playoffs in the 2 to 3 years before Jalen Hurts is now definitely saying after year 3, you're like, this guy is either going to be even getting way better or this is really who he is. And you can see that.
Yeah.
You've seen Baker Mayfield had good and then bad seasons and all that. So we got to see, is he more the Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, or is he more the Prescott, which keeps getting better, even though I hate Dak Prescott and the Cowboys.
So yeah, you're right. Prescott's a perfect comparison. Yeah, year after year after year, he improved, and he's still a guy that just manages the game. Not necessarily.
You
He
saw
makes
him
big
throwing
throws.
some
He
bad
makes big
passes, right?
throws.
He was throwing some behind him. He was throwing
Yeah, last
behind some
night.
of the Cowboys last night, even against Bob from Walmart. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Yeah, because you can wake up and have a bad game, and yeah, I was I was tweeting if Dak Prescott stinks because yeah, he's throwing against a bunch of Best Buy employees and he's missing receivers. Um, but I think that's why Tom Brady's is so hard to stop because he's been reading the field for so many years. And if when somebody can keep their body healthy enough to still be in the NFL, and now he's been there's nothing you can show him on defense that he hasn't seen. He can
Mm-hmm.
probably create his own playbook right now with a pen and paper.
Yep.
Like there's nothing he hasn't seen. So it's so hard to stop him because he's literally a football genius at this point. He's been doing it that long.
And
So
then him and Gronk, they have this thing together where like, you know, like if something breaks down, they've been playing so long together that I guarantee you, Arians at times like, what is Gronk doing? Brady's like, I know we do this all the time. You know what I mean? In a sense of a play breakdown, Gronk and Brady are on the same page, and he's definitely going to have to be a guy that we watch. You're going to have to keep multiple eyes on Gronkowski. No matter how you feel, how old he is, blah, blah, blah. If there's anybody that's going to break us and wreck it, it's going to be the Gronk and Brady connection. So you definitely got to pay attention to that when we line up on, what is this, a Saturday game again or Sunday?
I think it's somebody just said Sunday at 1, I think.
Let us know in the chat because y'all know
Man, that makes me
y'all like
nervous.
Google for us. I thought
Makes me nervous because a lot of these games.
I don't want to be the first one. I don't want
No,
to
I
be the
don't
first
either.
game. I want somebody to lose first.
But just a lot of the end of the season when we were playing these teams that are beat up and fourth string quarterbacks and stuff, it's hard for me to get excited about that. I want the Eagles to win. I wanted them to, like I said at the beginning, I would love to be wrong. I wanted them to sneak into the playoffs. But now it's like, okay, here we go. You know what I mean? I've been waiting like 4 weeks for a big time matchup, and now it's like, damn, it's happening.
You got the biggest one of them all, the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
the defending champions. Dang, it's crazy. I mean, I was low key kind of. I wanted to, I first said I wanted the Buccaneers, and then I low key kind of talked myself on the Rams, and now that's the real life Bucks. I'm like, here we go.
There we
Here
go.
we go.
2 games on Saturday. So
Yeah.
what did they say? Is
Yeah,
it
they
Sunday
said
or Saturday?
someone said Sunday at 1:00. Sunday at 1:00. It's
Okay.
just announced during the game. Damn. So we got the. Oh wait. So who plays on Saturday? Do they know the? Please let Dallas play on Saturday. I'm mad at Dallas. Got low key. I wanted to see that Dallas and Cardinals rematch. I really did because I liked it. I thought that game was pretty good, and I wanted to see it again. Now the Cowboys got the 49ers. They're not no slacker. But like I said, I saw the game was 17-0, and I was like, well, I got some things I got to do before I get on with DJ. Turn the game off, and I dipped. I come back, and I see Cowboys tweeting about the Niners. I'm like, y'all lying. I look back, and it's 27-24. The Niners came back down 17
Yeah,
and beat the Rams.
I'll have to watch those highlights because I don't know how that happened. I haven't even kept up with the 49ers. Garoppolo's here, then he's not here. Is
He's
he
playing.
playing?
Yeah. I mean, Debo Samuels is a stud.
Oh my
He could
god.
run it. He could catch it. He could do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
he is what 1,300 receiving yards and 600 rushing yards, something ridiculous.
yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy all the good wide receivers that came in the last couple years, and you know what I mean. It is what it is. Yeah, look, he said Wentz booked Hurts a vacay ticket for Sunday night.
Man, like it's crazy that so I just saw their stats next to each other this season and Hurts stats versus Wentz stats this year. It's just crazy that the Colts put all of that into trading for Carson Wentz and like I don't know if I mean they're obviously going for the future too, not just this season, but just to go in there, sprain both ankles in training camp, like I just it's not looking good, man. It's looking like Howie escaped.
Yeah. And like I said, if you look at it and you just pull back the layers, if you want to even forget the stats, like the deep analytic stats, Jalen Hurts took over a 4-11-1 team. Carson Wentz took over 11-5 team.
Mm-hmm.
They went 9-8. We went 9-8. So we got 5 games better. They got 2 games worse, and we got their first round pick.
Crazy. And there's one thing Jalen Hurts is going to do in the offseason, and that's work. You
Yeah,
know what I
he's not
mean?
going to go hunting.
No. He wakes up in the morning, he eats a 3,000 calorie breakfast, probably 2 cartons of eggs, and he goes to the gym. Carson Wentz is in a tree stand.
Oh my God! Look, and this is 2 big Carson Wentz guys at the time. You know what I mean? It's like you got to live in the moment, and the moment is the moment.
Once I saw his athleticism didn't come back after that injury, it told me that he didn't put the work in. There's guys that come back from ACL tears. It's because they put the work in. I just think he was a natural talent. He had a big time injury, and he just doesn't really do anything in the offseason.
Nope.
He's like, the first thing he posted when he went to Indianapolis was like him mowing a field. He was so happy to own a farm.
Yeah. And yo, he was disrespectful. He was like, these are my kind of people and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, yo, Carson, like, just look, bro. Just
what
stop
do you
talking.
mean, my kind of people?
Yes. It was bad. Like, for any respect that I was going to be like, let me catch a couple Carson games just for GP. I lost it. I done lost it. You can't be doing that to us, bro. This is Philly. Stop playing with us. So,
my. It was, I mean, he's not totally wrong. Philly, he didn't fit in Philly at all. At all.
He definitely did
zero swag, zero.
But with that being said, it's good to have you back talking Eagles and Sixers. Definitely part of the note back I can't think of the words calling out the frauds that come through and whatnot.
Yeah, no frauds. And that means if you said something and a team looks different 6 weeks later, it's perfectly fine to be like, they look good now. They look better than I thought they were going to look. That's okay. That's what not being a fraud is. You don't have to stick by your thing and like hope the Eagles lose because you want to be right at the beginning of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, some people just can't do that. If they say something, they can't go back and admit. Like I said, I've been a person that said Howie Roseman gots to go. And I'm willing to say that I was wrong at this point. And if he does do what I think he can do with the draft picks, I know people still are upset with some of the things he's done, but nobody is perfect. If that was the case, there'd be one team that wins all the games, right? There's a reason football's like this. And Howie has set us up beautifully. And the year 1 of the regime is looking pretty good. Shout out to Asia Roberson with the $10 donation. Yo, what's up with my favorite Philly YouTubers? I just want you to know good luck and make this a series. There you go. Listen, best believe if the Eagles beat the Buccaneers, which it's not going to be easy by no means, but your boy Philly Mike got a little bit of optimism, right? Until I physically see Jonathan Gannon come out and ruin my day, I'm going to.
All right, listen. If the Eagles beat the Buccaneers, I will sit up here and say I was wrong, and I will buy a Jalen Hurts jersey, and I will wear it.
And we will run this back.
If the Eagles beat the Buccaneers. Because at that point, I'd be like, there's no way I could possibly be any more wrong if we beat the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy. Like I said, they got a lot of stuff going on, but they got the one constant. We're going to have to start fast. But listen, if the Eagles beat the Bucs, you'll see me and DJ Eastwood again running it back. We just got to figure out our schedules. We work different times and whatnot. He's more of the late night guy. I'm more of the early guy. But we definitely will figure it out. With that being said, you got anything else for the people?
No, man. At the end of the day, it's go Birds. You know what I mean? It's go Birds, man. It's a tough matchup, but there's things we can do to put up a fight, and I just hope Sirianni doesn't get pass happy. I hope we try to dominate the game on the ground and in the time of possession from the jump. And I hope Jonathan Gannon understands that if you play conservative against Tom Brady, you're throwing in the towel.
Yeah, you just gave up and that, look, if we're gonna go out, I just want to go out swinging, right? At the end of the day, some people, got the full belief, and I'm not disbelief on. I don't believe the Eagles are gonna just roll over, but in retrospect, the Philadelphia Eagles got better throughout the year. We had a fortunate schedule throughout the year. We made the most of it. Nobody can take us. Nobody can take the playoff appearance away from us. That's as simple as that. Orlando Scandrick talking about why the Eagles resting starters, like they got some, they're going somewhere. I hate that
That
guy.
he knows exactly what he's doing, though. He does. He knows everybody hates him, but he knows everybody's gonna reply when he tweets. And a lot of people are like, if we just stop giving this guy attention, he'll go away. It's never gonna happen. He's always gonna have that social media now because he can always say something like that, and he'll always drive Eagles fans nuts. So he's getting what he wants out of it.
Yeah, but the worst thing is like to be as bad of a player he was at the end of his career for the Eagles to get chumped by Malcolm Jenkins and the crew. Then to go on Undisputed. He really thought he was going on Undisputed to talk with. Listen, he thought he was going to be
Gannon
on
Sharp
there as
was
an
giving it to him.
equal. He was like, yeah, okay, we could discuss this Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott and Eagles and Dallas situation. Shannon Sharp absolutely ate him up.
That was great. That was great. He went at him. That's how you gotta be. Keep it
Yeah.
real, man. You know what I mean? Like somebody says something and you think it's crazy, tell them. Just because the guy came on your show, you don't have to, pull a Bob Menery and agree with everything he says.
Exactly. But the funny part is though, because like every time he was doing this, like my man, my man Orlando Scandrick was flinching a little bit. He was like, "All right, bro." He was petrified. It was hilarious.
Why are they there and you're here with me? Why are you here with me?
He was like, "But because 12 years, bro. You give up." He said you gave up like a 3rd and 30.
He's like, that was a 4th and 4.
Yeah,
That wasn't a 3rd and 30.
yeah. Shout out to Philly 52 with the $2 donation. He said Hurts is still a rookie. He'll be okay. Not by definition, but I agree. I'm more along the lines of he's such a young player. The 4 starts are the 4 starts. You know what I mean? Ben Simmons run rookie of the year his second year.
Yeah. At least we know Hurts is going to put in the work to try to improve his game. If we're talking about Ben Simmons, that dude, he never does. He's Carson Wentz. He doesn't do anything in the offseason.
Yeah, it's crazy, but at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance to do something great and not only knock off a team that nobody believed, they have a chance to beat the Super Bowl champions of 2020 and just got to go out swinging. I think again, if we play our game, because I saw how great we ran the ball in Denver and New Orleans when we were fully healthy and at full capacity, I'm not going to sit up here and just guarantee. I'm a gambling man, and I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, we about to beat up on the Bucs. But if the Eagles can get in their bag and we could be dominant and we could run the ball as viciously as we want and you get a turnover or two, this could be a football game. And we can go out there and, again, Brady's the best player on the field. But if we go out there and try to be bullies and we got some bullies up front and Dickerson and Mulata and Lane and Kelsey, go ahead and set the tempo. We're going to need them to start it and Jalen Hurts to finish it. And then just Gannon to get somewhat. I'm not telling you to shut down Brady. I'm just telling you to just 1 or 2 big plays. That's all. That's what we can use.
Yeah. Big turnovers. He threw a bad interception in week 6. Miscommunication. It was with Antonio Brown at the time too, where he just completely overthrew him right to the safety. Turnovers would help a lot.
Yeah, but as we all said on this stream, if there is the weakest link between both of us, I think we both agreed it was Jonathan Gannon and the defensive scheme. I'm not saying we got shut down players on defense, but I still think our players, especially how TJ Edwards has been playing and blah, blah, I think we have players that we don't have to play this scared. So it's really going to be Jonathan Gannon. And I agree with DJ. Get the ball first. If you could go up 7 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's the way to get Brady a little bit uneven. If he gets the ball, if the first time Tom Brady's touching the ball, he has a chance to take a lead, he might not ever give it back to us.
It's true. Yeah. And you know what I mean? We take advantage of that offensive line. That's what we've done the second half of the season, man. That's why every single running back on the roster is a positive. Like, you could put anybody back there behind some of those guys and they're just going to open up the hole. You just got to run through it. So take advantage of that.
Yeah, and what I say is, okay, look, if he was a rookie at this time of the season, he would have had 17 games under his belt, right? So he has 21 games under his belt, not 20. So Oh, 20. You're right, because he didn't play today. So a normal rookie would have played 17 games. Jalen Hurts played 20. So you're right. He's not a rookie. I'm just making it. All right, you're right. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts is a very young player who has close to the same games played as a rookie. Because I know Donovan Mitchell agrees with you because he's mad that he didn't win the Rookie of the Year because Ben Simmons got it while riding the bench for 365 days with an injury. But you're right. I will say rookies in 2021 going into 2022 have played 17 games and he has played 20. So it's close enough to say that we here for a reason, right? Let's look at the other young players. There's only two young quarterbacks in the playoffs. That's Mac Jones and Jalen Hurts. Oh, I lied. Joe
Yeah.
Burrows is there too, and the Chargers might be there now too because Carson Wentz. So
Oh, what's happening in that Chargers Raiders game? Is that on right now?
it should be.
Because if it ends in a tie, they both make the playoffs. So everybody was thinking they were going to take a knee the whole game.
Yeah, I'm about to just see real quick.
But back to Jalen Hurts, I kind of want to go watch his Oklahoma highlights versus his Alabama highlights because somebody brought that up the other day that system has a lot to do with it. And his numbers at Oklahoma blew his numbers at Alabama out of the water. You know what I mean? So, I'd like to see, like, for myself, go back and watch, like, how much different he looked in that system compared to what it looked like in Alabama because, obviously the first half of the season with the Eagles, the system was totally different than what it is right now with the
Facts.
lack of running the ball and all that. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kyler Murray's a young quarterback too. So there is a couple young quarterbacks in the draft, and it's good. I mean, in the draft, in the playoffs, and it's good to see our young quarterback sneak up in there too. And right now, the Chargers and Raiders game, it's 14-20. It's Raiders got the ball. Yo, it's crazy because the Colts
They're
lost. If the Raiders and Chargers got to get some type of communication. Say, bro, look, let's just tie, and we both go into the playoffs.
yeah, because if you're out there trying to win and you end up losing, you're not in the playoff. You're like, why would you do that to yourself? I don't want
Yeah.
to do that to you. You don't do that to me. Let me get this field goal. We'll both tie.
Yeah, well, now it's a 6-point game. So you know it's crazy. Imagine, it's a 6-point game, right? Imagine they get communication like, we'll tie, we'll both go in. Remember, this is a division rival, so they don't like each other that much, right? So somehow the Raiders allowed the Chargers to
That's
score a
true.
touchdown, right? It's 2020, and they're like, psych, I'm kicking an extra point.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. If this happened with the Eagles and the Cowboys, would they ever agree to tie? There's no way in hell.
Yeah,
There's absolutely no way. I'd be like, I'm trying to beat you. If I miss the playoffs trying to beat you, I'm doing that before I agree to tie the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's cool for us to say because we're not in that rivalry, but there's not a division of rival that I'm like, you know what, let's both get in. Nah, it's me or you, bro, at this point.
Yeah.
But that's good stuff. With that being said, Eagles versus Bucks, playoff wild card weekend. DJ Eastwood, Philly Mike. Definitely hit the like button wherever you're watching it. We still got close to 360 in the chat. We are live on both channels. So if you don't know who he is, go ahead and type in Run It Back in the search bar. Hit that subscribe button to him. And same here, Philly Talk Podcast. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Last but not least, go ahead and say your piece to the people.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I was happy to be back on YouTube. I was gone for 2 months with some BS copyright infringement accusations that took a while to get cleared up. But here I am, man, ready to get back into this. Ready to get back in the swing of things, Sixers and Eagles, and collabing with people and doing what we do.
Yes, sir.
And go
Yes, sir.
Birds.
Shout out to Philly Take with RB in the building. He said they got to run that Joe Judge quarterback sneak. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
we didn't
crazy.
even talk about that. Did they fire him yet?
That's the crazy part. They're about to get a new GM and keep Joe Judge. If I'm a GM and I'm trying, and you're like, yo, if a team reached out if the Giants reached out to me, I'm like, bro, I ain't coming there unless you let me pick my coach. I'm not working with Joe Judge. Did you hear him after they lost to the Bears? Yo, I tweeted it on Twitter. I don't know if you saw, but it had to be the worst thing I heard in my life. This man literally said that he believes the Giants are closer to being good than farther away than being good. He said that there's players on his team right now who are going to hit free agency that are in his office begging for us to re-sign them. Then he said that there's players who left the Giants in the last 2 years that call him up every night or once a week saying that they're begging to be a Giant again. These people left the Giants for more money, and they still want to come back and play for me. That's what he really said,
What is
bro.
wrong with this guy?
Like,
all right, so the QB sneak on the 4-yard line. So was he doing what Doug Peterson did last year? Like throw the game to get a better draft pick? Because Eagles
maybe.
fans were mad about that. But at least he waited till like the fourth quarter or whatever to put Hurts on the bench, I think.
Well, we did it at halftime.
Oh, we did it at halftime?
Yeah.
And the fans were mad about it, right?
A little bit. Well, the players, I was cool at the end of the day. That's part of the reason why we got Devontae. But this man really, like, how could you say that players on your team are begging to stay with you and that players that played with you before are begging to come back? Like, one thing is to try to say you're a good coach, but to go that far is like, bro, that's an embarrassment. That's just straight wildly crazy for a coach to say that. First of all, if I'm Saquon Barkley or players that are coming up on a contract and I'm hearing that he's saying people are begging, I'm like, what? I'm out.
That doesn't make
I'm
any
playing
sense.
for that guy.
That seems like he's a little off his rocker.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's like, we got people begging to come back here. I died.
I don't think I've ever seen a 3rd and 9 QB sneak. It just doesn't make any sense. At least hand the ball off if you don't want to take a chance of throwing an interception or something.
Yeah, it was 3rd and 9.
Yeah, it was 3rd and 9 from their own 4-yard line. They were on the 1 and they ran a QB sneak, and it was like that was to get out of the end zone.
Yeah.
And then they 3rd and 9 from the 4, they ran another QB sneak, and the announcers were like, "What? What was going on here?"
That's crazy. That's crazy. Shout out to Jeremiah Butler with a $2 super chat. Yo, I'm late. What's good? Would you link homie's channel? Oh, there he got it. But it's really as simple as typing running back Philly in the search bar. You know what I mean? That's how crazy easy it is to find guys once they're down in the soil. And
we talk Sixers. We talk Sixers too, and we bash Ben Simmons as much as humanly possible until he's off of that team because he's an absolute fraud. Yeah, run it back Philly.
There you go. With that being said, until next time, y'all know what time it is. We'll be dropping content on our own channels throughout the week. Make sure you stay tuned, hit the notification bell, and we are out. Peace.